Well, welcome to Coffee with Vern, a time where we have intentional conversations about the gospel and we desire to talk about theological truth. Thanks for joining us. We hope you can learn and grow and be fed through this. Well, Boker Tov, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Coffee with Vern, the special edition, the editions of all editions.
The special of specials.
The OG of OGs.
Right, there you go.
This is it, the original, my man, Pastor Larry is in the house.
It's like, I don't know, 30-something episodes we've finally got him on here.
All I'm saying is 30 episodes, 35 years of ministry. We could have gave it 5 more. I need to check.
What if it is? I don't know what episode it is.
All I'm saying is Providence.
It's probably 40-something, though.
If that's all I'm saying. But we have got the man of all men, the OGs of all Gs. I don't know if that made sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
You even know the pastors of all pastors, the one with the plan, the man, Pastor Larry C. Harmon.
Goodness sakes.
Welcome in, brother.
Yeah, how do you follow an introduction like that?
I know. I've already been nervous about being here anyway.
Don't be nervous.
With all that's going on and not knowing what you're going to ask or anything like that. And then you build me up to I have to have perfection today, and that's not going to happen.
No, see, I told you all these questions, but these are a cover-up for what we're actually going to ask.
Right.
No, because what many of you may not realize is we have had the longest relationship with this man.
That's right.
And I hold that against some of the other staff? Yes, I hold that dear to my heart, that I've known you since I was 2 years old. And how about you? How long?
Well, we came when I was in 5th grade, so
you're going to have to do the math. How old were you?
I mean, so that's almost 30 years or 20 something years ago. So
well, it was over 20 for us. So look at that.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
I'm about to be 30.
Jesse
that's not right. I don't know. I didn't do it.
Jesse is one of the things that was one of my most disappointing parts of my ministry over 35 years. Is that I was not asked to do his wedding ceremony.
You were out of town. You were in India.
But how many times I would have come back for that? I know.
So are you still going to be doing weddings after retirement?
Probably so, but I see more funerals than weddings, and not that I look forward to doing funerals, but
I mean, do people like me have special perks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all. Because I won't pull.
That's really what you wanted to ask.
I'm not going to pull a Jesse.
No, that is without a doubt. I already have a list of people that have made me write their names down that I was going to do their funeral.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty sad. I mean, for me to think about, I'm going to be doing
people that are still alive.
That are here at church that have said, we're happy for you, but please know that you're going to do my funeral.
Wow.
And, that's a kind of a bittersweet thing as well.
Yeah, I was going to say there's sweetness behind it, but it's also like, well, the Lord might spare you longer than me.
That's what I tell them, that I may be checking out before they do.
Right.
And
oh man. Well, I mean, I will say funerals and weddings are something you are phenomenal at.
Yeah.
I will tell you that, because I think that funeral we did recently or right in the middle of COVID.
Yes.
I was like, this man, this is way too easy for him. I'm sweating over here singing, and it was awesome. So that's a good thing, though. At least we have a church like that cherishes their pastor, which we will probably talk a little bit about. We've got a lot that we have to try to cover. That's the crazier thing, because between us three, over
to the
20
2-hour episode of Coffee with Vern.
Stay tuned. If you need to go get a drink, go get it right now.
Yeah.
Because we are going to dive on into it, but I think it's going to be good. So how do you want to start this one, Jesse?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, do you want to, let's just talk with Pastor about his early beginnings.
Yeah, I think we start
like one of those documentaries we were watching.
Like a timeline.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Yeah, so most everybody knows where you're from. Mount Vernon, right?
Mount Vernon, Kentucky.
Mount Vernon, Kentucky. We're not going to spill your age out over the airwaves, because we all know that you're just 27. We all know, but you've been doing ministry for 35 years. That's just something about that is amazing. But Mount Vernon, Kentucky. Now, did you meet Miss Kay in Mount Vernon?
I did. I met her in a history class whenever I was a junior in high school.
Wow.
Oh, y'all high school sweethearts?
Well, when we were juniors, we were in school together, but I didn't know her. I didn't know her before. So juniors in high school, I can remember it like it was yesterday, history class, and I wrote a note to her in history class and gave it to my good friend and said, "Would you go give that? Would you go give that
classic
to her?"
Class.
Yeah,
so classic.
That's the way it was done back in the day.
Oh, I'm sure it still happens like that today.
But gave her a note and said, "Would you consider going out on a date with me?"
Look at that.
And she sent a note back through my friend and said that she would.
I want to meet this friend.
Well, see, I was very shy growing up, and in high school, grade school, all of that. I used to, when the bell would ring, to go to the locker room to exchange classes and get your books for the next class. I would always sprint to the locker because I didn't want to be caught in the locker area with having to talk to a bunch of people, because I was that. You ask anybody, I was one of the most.
Which is insane.
Caleb and Jay, I don't feel like either of them are like that.
No, and most people I even share that with can't believe that I was.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you stand up every Sunday and talk to so many people.
Right.
It just is so natural to you. Nobody would ever believe you were shy.
Well, that's another point of how God equips you for what He's called you to do.
Very true.
And wow, did he do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, in that class, she said yes. And funny thing about it is, she came and picked me up on our first date, and she drove this Pontiac Bonneville. It was probably about 35, 40 feet long. It was like a tank. And she had the reputation in our hometown as being not such a good driver. And so, I felt a little bit better about being in a bigger car and all that.
A little safer.
But I do remember her coming and picking me up, and we went to a place. It's called the Snack Shack. There was nothing in my hometown, but this was a little snack shack. You could get ice cream, hamburger, hot dog, whatever. But that was our first date together. Sure was.
In the Bonneville.
In the Bonneville.
To the Snack Shack.
The Snack Shack.
Man. Is Miss Kay a better driver now?
Oh, much better driver.
Okay, praise the Lord.
Driver now.
I was going to say, next time you're on the road, I'm just parking.
If she wasn't, would you say so?
I would.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
I really would.
Man, Anna's a horrible driver. I'll confess that on all the airwaves. One of our first years of dating, I thought we were gonna die on the Highway 25 to Greenville, because she's staring at me as she's driving. I'm like, honey, you got to look at the road.
Allison tells me I'm a terrible driver, but my girls will tell me I'm a great driver. Granted, they're 4 and 3.
Nah, well, they don't know.
But I think I'm a good
That's
driver.
hilarious.
We had an experience one time, just quickly, that I was teaching her how to drive a straight shift. And that's when I had my little red Camaro 3-speed in the floor.
Man.
And we were going from Mount Vernon to Berea, which is 14 miles away. And we were going there to probably get something to eat, but I was letting her drive. And it was on old Highway 25. And they had it was Kentucky State Police checkpoint, and they would do that often, where they would check your license. And so we went around the corner. We saw what it was, and I began to pray, because she really struggled taking off. So we had to stop, and everything was good, and took off. She literally laid rubber trying to take off in front of the state trooper. And so he comes up to the window and he says, is there a problem? And I shared with him I was teaching her how to drive a straight shift. And he said, well, just move on, be careful. She took off again and peeled out rubber again. And I remember reaching over, getting my legs over there and getting on the clutch and the gas and all that to get her started. Once she got started, she was good. But we always remember how embarrassing that was.
State trooper.
Twice.
2 times.
That's good.
Twice. Oh, Miss Kay. I would love to hear some of her
And she's
memories.
got some memories too.
I was going to say, I think hers would probably be entertaining to hear. Oh man, so y'all have been married almost the same amount of time that you've been here. Is
That's
that right?
right. This coming June the 30th will be 37 years.
37.
And 35 years that we've been here.
37 years. And y'all did you get married while you were in seminary?
We did. Whenever we knew we were going to get married, see, we dated 7.5 years before we got married.
See, people, quit asking me when I'm going to get married. Quit asking me.
But I went on to seminary, and her dad told her if she would stay and not go off with me immediately to seminary, he would pay for her graduate school, her master's. So he did that. I went on and had a year and a half behind me in seminary, and then we got married.
Cool.
But whenever I came home that summer for the wedding in 1984, looking forward to getting home. I was getting married. When I was going back to Fort Worth, I was not going alone. I was going to have my wife. She called the wedding off.
I didn't know this.
What?
Yeah. I got home, like one of the first times I went to see her to pick her up, and knew something was a little off. And she said, I can't do this. I can't get married. And I said, what do you mean you can't get married? We have the date planned, the preacher said, everything. I mean, and she said, I can't leave. I can't leave this area.
Oh, wow.
I can't leave my family. And I remember getting in, I was in my dad's truck at that time. I remember getting in my dad's truck and driving back to my home, which was 3 miles from there, and I walked up to the pond. There was a pond up in the hills back behind us, and I remember going up there and talking to God. I had a really close talk with God.
Yeah.
And about the time I was having that close talk to God, one of the most memorable moments of my life was whenever my dad came up, and I remember he put his hand on my shoulder. And he said, son, what's wrong? And that's whenever he just shared with me, and the peace that God used him to bring to me, because I was devastated. This thing's over.
Right.
So he said, you need to go back and fight for what is yours. Know. So I got back in the truck, went up to her house. She was in her bedroom. Her dad said, need you to come out on the porch. And he gave me a talk. But it was he said, you need to go up and talk to her. She's going to be okay. And I did, and everything was great, of course. 37 years
I was gonna say 37 years later.
Yeah.
And we could have a whole episode just on Mr. Harry.
Yeah.
And
that is true. That would, no doubt. That would be a difficult thing for me. Even thinking about that moment, I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
Sweet memories.
Yeah.
Sweet man. I'm just thankful we got a little bit of time with him.
Absolutely.
How many years were they here?
My dad was here for 6 years. And then Mom, 8 years.
Okay.
So it's good times.
6 years they were filled with definite good times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can just hear him saying that to you, though.
Oh, yeah.
I can hear the voice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. Mr. Harry making things happen.
That's right.
Through the Lord.
Yeah.
Right? And now we got Miss K 37 years later with brother Larry.
Yeah.
The brother. That's awesome. Well, good memories. And you went to Southwestern, and then
I did.
You ended up. That's what we wanted to talk about. It's how you ended up here.
Right.
I still don't even know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty neat story. I want to back up just a little bit. Whenever I was heading to Texas, I drove to Texas in my little red Camaro and had it loaded full of everything that I owned. And I I was driving to Texas with not knowing anyone,
right,
and did not even have a place to live. And but I had a couple of friends that had been there that had contacts. But anyway, I was driving to Texas, and I got to Little Rock, Arkansas. I was going to spend the night there, and got to the motel room, and I went in, and all of a sudden I said, "This is not happening. I am not going to Texas." Kay and I at that time had been dating 5 years or so, and then my family, close to my family, I said, "There's no way. I'm turning around. I'm coming. I'm going back to Kentucky, and I'll go to Southern Seminary. It's in Louisville, which at that time was the most liberal school
it was.
ever.
Yep.
And that's the reason I didn't even consider it.
It was
at the time. But at that point, I'm saying, liberal or not, I'm going to go back home. I'm going home. And I remember calling my mom and dad, and I was telling Mom, I'm coming home. I can't do this. This is too hard. And I remember my dad on the other end, he said, son, you made it this far. You need to go and at least give it a try. My mom on the other end, other line, saying, honey, get on back home. Come on.
Yes.
Come on. Don't you stay there a moment longer. And then I remember calling Kay. And I told Kay the same thing. All I needed, I had a dad that said, stay, give it a try. Mom said, come home. All I needed for Kay to do was to say, honey, please come on back home. We'll work this out. I called her and I told her, gave her the story, and I'll never forget it. And I thank her for this even today. I said, Kay, I've got to come home. I can't do this. Can't be apart from you and my family and all that. This is too far away. And she said, Larry, if you come home, when you come, I will not see you anymore.
Wow.
And I said, I mean, what do you mean you won't see me anymore? She says, I know God's call is on your life for you to be there, and I'm not going to interfere with that. I will not be here for you.
Wow.
So,
Get a sip of coffee.
I kept going. So I just kept driving to Texas, to Fort Worth. Wow. And the Lord revealed that's exactly where I was to be and exactly what I was supposed to be.
What a woman.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Miss K, I know you're going to listen to this, but next time you see me, I just need a hug. Teach me some of your wisdom. Man, I didn't know that story either.
Yeah.
So how far was Little Rock from Kentucky?
Probably Little Rock was around 5, 6,
it's like 7, a midway point?
About a midpoint, yeah.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And then you ended up at Southwestern. That's right. I had forgot you went to Southwestern prior to being married, because we had talked about that when I came home and was trying to figure out seminary.
Yeah. About a year and a half that I was there in seminary.
And you were doing your graduate degree, right? Because you had it.
I was doing my master's. A master's in religious education is what I received my degree in.
Because you have your undergraduate psychology.
I do psychology and religion from Cumberland College now, which is called University of the Cumberlands.
Okay. I couldn't remember because I knew we had talked a little bit about all that back in the day. Southwestern. You get married, you finish up at Southwestern.
I did.
This is what I'm interested, though, is how our brother ended up in Augusta, Georgia.
Well, 1985, December of 1985 is when I graduated Southwestern. Kay was teaching school. So at that time, I sent my resumes out. I sent them out all over the Southeast. I didn't send any in the North because of me and my accent and everything. Didn't think maybe that would go over quite so well in the northern part of the country. So I sent a lot in the southern part, not many to Kentucky, but I sent lots to Tennessee and to North Carolina. And I sent one resume to Georgia.
Wow.
And because I really didn't know much about Georgia. We'd driven through Georgia on our way to Florida one time, but I didn't know anything about it. But I did know this, that there was a big golf tournament that was held here once a year called the Masters. And
how about that?
The big draw.
Yeah, it really, I don't know that I would have sent one here if that had not been in my mind, because my father-in-law, he was at that time a really big golfer. Over and over, he loved golf, maybe to a point sometimes that he loved it too much, but he was a big golfer. And I thought, well, I'm going to just send one to the Augusta Association of Baptist Churches. And at that time, Brother Bob Rayner was a pastor here. He's a founding pastor at West Acres. He was in a revival in San Antonio, Texas. And he got in touch with me and said, Nancy and I are in San Antonio doing a revival. We're finishing up on such and such date. Can we come by and visit you and your wife, talk to you? We got your resume. So I said, yes, that would be great. And we fixed this it was roast beef, mashed potatoes, and gravy, and all kinds of stuff that we had there for them. They came, and we hit it off. I mean, everything just clicked just like that. And we ended up coming to visit for a week. They called us here just for a week to visit, see what we thought. We stayed here, and God just opened the door for us to be here at West Acres.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And again, it goes with the masters. You know, my father-in-law being a golfer, I thought, well, maybe because he didn't like the fact of his daughter marrying a preacher. Because at that time, 18 months was an average for a pastor to stay in a church.
Wow.
So he's saying, you're going to take my daughter all over the country and here and there and everywhere. And the Lord, he just showed off. He said, I'm going to take him to Augusta, Georgia, a place that he knew of as the Masters. And we've been here our entire whole ministry.
That's
amazing.
So, yeah.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
God's hand.
Yeah.
We could have a whole sermon right now.
Good night.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you've been here ever since.
Yeah, it's been I can't tell you, and just having the platform here today for those that do listen or watch, my time here has been the most awesome time in the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people that have loved me, loved my family, that have been patient with us, that a church that forgives. You know, when you're in a ministry for a long time, you mess up from time to time.
That's right.
And you either got a church that's going to love you and support you and pray for you and encourage you, or you're going to have a church that kicks you out on the side of the curb. And thank the good Lord, He blessed me with a church that loved me and encouraged me and help me to keep on keeping on.
We got a very loving and forgiving congregation.
Yes.
I always tell people that. I'm like, West Acres, I've only worked at 2 churches, really, Forestville and Greenville and West Acres. And it's something, but I've been in a lot of churches for ministry and stuff. And I've never met a congregation that loves like ours, ever.
Yeah.
Same here, because I went to 3 different churches while I was in school in Atlanta, and never one time did I consider them as gracious or as loving as West Acres.
It's always been home. Yeah. And I always told Mom, I said, no matter where I end up, like West Acres is going to be home.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never call anywhere else home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I feel the same way. Wherever the Lord leads me after this, doing whatever, West Acres will always be my home.
It's home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's even when I was in college, because you knew this, but I would come home to come to church. I mean, I'd come home to see Mom and Dad, of course, and get some food and gas. But I also,
laundry.
Facts. But also to come to church, because I would come to church on Sunday. I'd play. Rob graciously let me play, even though I wasn't practicing during the week, and then I'd set me off for the next week. Yeah. So, I mean, home sweet home, here we are. And, we have dream jobs. We love what we do. I know you do too. But it's good times. So now we've got to get into it. Now we got to.
Yep. So this is why we really brought you in here today.
This is it.
Here we go.
Because we have a lot that we could talk about.
We're just messing.
Even in your retirement, you need to come back. We need to do this again.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we can cover everything today. Because my brain's just thinking about everything of my life with you, and I'm just like, holy cow. But all right, so we've been here for over 20 plus years. My family, you've been here for over 20 plus years. So we have been with you through everything. Okay. I played basketball on his team, which your team was always the best team, and I was horrible. So you brought the picture?
Wow.
The picture. I'm not sure if you can see it, but he's number 3.
That's amazing. Oh,
you
man.
brought the picture.
Yeah, I brought the picture.
Wait, James, you got to stand up and bring that to the camera.
Yeah, please.
I know it's bowl cut, James, but you gotta.
Oh, that bowl cut. Oh my gosh. Who?
Yeah, everybody just
I'm so
pause your listening ears for the viewing audience so they can see this greatness about to show up.
Oh my, right there.
Hold on.
Look, there's number 3.
Number 3.
That bowl cut.
He was the main man.
Get a load of that.
Wow. Amazing.
Wow.
He was a Michael Jordan of our West Acres
team. I was
team.
not the Michael Jordan. That would be Luke Harmon, actually. For anyone that's wondering, that would be Pastor's son. I was let me try to make a 3. I'm out of here.
Well, you used to be like what, 2'5"?
I didn't hit my growth spurt till really like sophomore year of high school. Yeah. And I actually grew all the way even into college.
Yeah, but he was quick.
I was fast. I still am.
Yeah.
That home run, just so you know, for everybody that's at the game last week.
You may be quick, but when you run, It's like all your arms are separate from your arms and your legs are separate
My
from your body.
body takes off, and I have to catch up with it.
You should see him when the phone rings. If he's in my office and his phone rings, he pauses. It's like a dog. He pauses for a second.
To make sure it's mine.
Yeah. And then when it rings again, he runs off, and I'm surprised his arms stay attached to his body.
I don't like missing, the church phone. I don't like missing a call because it'll disappear. I'm like, oh, man. Yeah. But, oh, my goodness. So, yeah, I played basketball. I was terrible, but I had a lot of fun. Playing for Pastor Sawyer was a lot of fun because he was good. You're a good coach.
We had several undefeated teams. You were on.
I was on one of them.
I know you were one of them.
Mm-hmm. And it were good memories because I played with a lot of different teams because rec league I didn't like playing rec league, so church league was more fun. It was brutal, but it was fun. We had the best jerseys too. Always. Pastor always sprinkled a little bit of extra on ours. Yeah. But it was fun. There's some good memories playing with Luke. Pastor's youngest son's my age, and so it was a lot of fun there. I miss old Lukey, but played basketball. And most of our church knows I hung out with you like every other week since I had my call to ministry with my book bag the size of me and bowl cut. But one of my favorite memories was one day I was sitting outside of your office waiting for you. And I remember looking up at the board where all the names are. Mm-hmm. And I always would see it as I walked out, and I went, man, I'd love for my name to be up there one day. So probably one of my sweetest memories in getting this job was when Julie put my name up there.
Yeah. Wow.
It was like, Lord, I'm home.
Right.
Because you graciously gave time to sitting with an immature little kid who was trying to figure out theology, life, the Bible, and his call. And you said, you know what, I'm going to pour into you. And so that's one of my favorite memories of West Acres is our meetings, right? Because we would just sit together and discuss it.
Yeah,
anything. Anything.
Yeah, and how I look forward to that.
Oh man!
And the thing that you don't realize is he came this little young bowl cut guy, big book bag, his feet couldn't touch the floor, but I would study before he would come because I knew he was going to challenge me with something. He wasn't your typical normal young little kid coming to the office. He was prepared. He knew what he was going to talk about. And the last thing I wanted to do was say, well, James, I don't know. And I'm sure I said that several times where we had to kind of dig into it. But he'd come with these big, huge books of Ken Ham and creationism and evolution.
I was always debating
and
in
all
school.
Of that. That was one of the most memorable times of my entire ministry is the time that we were able to spend together.
Well, and I tell people all the time, when you think about people that poured into you over your life, and especially ministry, because for people this is always my encouragement to guys that they're praying about the Lord calling them into ministry and trying to figure out if that's truly their calling. Yeah. It's like, you've got to have somebody that pours into you. Because I would not be where I'm at. Even over those discussions of creation and evolution and stuff like that, because I was always debating in school. But even over that, what it flourished into study habits.
That's right.
Right, just conversation, knowing how to have a conversation with somebody. Your sermon prep is still things that I try to practice. I'm not as diligent as you are with the handwriting stuff, but I still try to practice those same methods. The way that you would highlight in your Bible, things like that, all of it, it carries into, so you never know what the Lord's going to do, and just taking a little bowl cut peewee kid and spending some time with him. Yeah. But, that's been one of my favorite memories. That definitely, because I have a lot of memories here at this church, but my favorite is hanging out with you. Yeah. Now you go ahead. Share?
I'll tell, and it's funny. It's more of a realization memory than a specific. It's a specific, but it wasn't here. It was when I was in Atlanta. And like I said, I went to 3 different churches when I was in Atlanta. The first one I started out at was North Point. And say what you want about North Point now. James and I have very strong opinions on that. But anyway, I remember going and listening, and there's a million people already at North Point at this huge time. And I called Mom and I was like, it's big and it's nice, but he's not Pastor Larry. Like, I want to come home and I want to listen to Pastor Larry. And that is like one of the most vivid memories in my mind.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I mean, I think back, do we remember every sermon? Do we remember every point? No. But I will say one of the things that has transcended into ministry, sermon prep, and things from like what you do, and I think you would agree, is the passion.
Oh, yeah.
It's contagious.
Absolutely.
Because I'm watching now on Wednesday nights. When I get fired up, I'm like, whoa. This is kind of scary who this sounds like. I'm feeling my blood vessels start bursting. And like last week, I got fired up. My side started hurting. I was like, I wonder if Pastor Larry's side starts hurting, like as if he's running a marathon, because I'm gassed right now, man.
Well, the next thing you have to do is fast and then faint.
Fast and faint. Okay.
So
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when you fainted on stage, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I'd actually come down off the platform. It was invitation time. I had finished the message, and I can't remember, Jesse. It was 30 or 31 days that I had been fasting, and just with water. My goal was 40 days that I knew God was leading me to do, and on that particular morning, of course, I was pretty weak because I was doing was water, no juice or anything.
Right.
And whenever I got to the invitation time, I passed out.
Wow.
And the next thing I knew, I woke up in my office. They had taken me to my office, and my boys, at that time, they thought I died in the service. So,
holy moly! I remember some of my funniest times are this is terrible. I'm so sorry. Is when you would fall going up the stairs to preach. There's been multiple of those. I don't know why. I just think those are funny because now I'm always scared when I walk up the stairs that I'm going to fall.
Yes, and you will.
And it's coming. I know it's coming for me probably this week now. To say something.
Probably.
But do you remember the time that I fell on purpose?
Yeah, I remember that one clearly.
I went up and I fell and popped back up like nothing had happened. And I can't even remember. There was a reason for me doing that to lead into the message, but that was interesting.
And it sounded like it hurt.
Well, maybe.
It might have.
it did indeed. Oh my gosh. Those are some of my favorite. Your favorite. All of that good stuff. There's been a lot of fun memories. Fall festivals are always good when you'd be in the dunk tank or dunking people.
Yes.
When you wore, was it an all-white suit?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Colonel Sanders.
Yes, that was it. I remember.
So remember that one.
So we used to do Country Day. We got to bring that back,
We should.
you brother, this is your time. You just make something happen.
We can look. Yeah, I mean, I'll just go ahead and make an announcement.
You tell me. I'll wear my overalls. I'm ready.
Right. And
I'm ready. Yeah. And I mean,
nobody else knows, but Country Day is on so and so.
It's actually in 3 weeks. No, those are good memories. My favorite picture, if I can bring up one, is I don't remember what it is. You probably have it. Is when you're putting the cross on the steeple.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we actually found that Kay was cleaning out some drawers this past week, and she found the picture.
That picture.
That was pretty awesome for me. Just the symbolism of putting the cross in. It's like plugging the power source of God's church, the cross.
Yep.
Now, if you go out and look at the cross now, it moves around. I don't know if have you noticed that?
I've noticed it.
It's some. I didn't actually tighten it in. I just put it down, but it moves around. But
we could get you back up there.
Well,
I remember being in the service when you showed that video.
Yes.
Yeah. So we weren't here when you did that because that was before we came.
Right.
But the picture, it was one of the anniversaries.
Right. Yes.
And it might have been the one I did my cardboard testimony at because that was an awesome memory. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's in my office, and it sits directly across from my desk, so that if I'm having a bad day, I look at it.
Yeah.
But man, there've been some memories, and they'll just keep coming. Is there a favorite memory of yours? And it doesn't have to deal with us, but is there one that just stands out? Because I know 35 years, there's some memories, but do you have one that just you remember constantly from your time at West Acres?
Well, I do. A very serious time, but it was the closest time for me that I felt and sensed a revival. I mean, a true revival.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about revival and revivals coming, or it was revival this morning in worship. And it may have been a sense, a small taste of what revival's like. But I remember back in it was 1994, matter of fact, revival broke out, I believe, in our church. And it was the year that I baptized 424, almost. We were with the Georgia Baptist Convention. First Baptist Church, Atlanta, was number 1 in baptisms, and West Acres Baptist Church was number 2 in baptisms. And that to me was the highlight of all the years that I've had here, being able to see that many people come and give their life to the Lord and be able to baptize them. Yeah. And that's what I believe is in the future, the near future for West Acres, with God bringing a real sincere revival from God to the hearts of believers. We think about revival sometime where the lost need to be saved. Well, that's not revival. Right. Revival is the saved being renewed and inspired and encouraged and enlightened and all those things. And then when we're there, then revival is what takes place.
Yeah, it's the outpouring.
It is.
Oh, man.
That would be a number 1 time for me in my ministry here.
424 people. Yeah. And there's only 52 weeks in a year. I'm just thinking about the math. Like, holy cow. Oh, yeah. Baptism has probably been one of my favorite things since getting the job.
Oh, yeah.
That's a special moment.
It is.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I remember even being baptized here, now getting to baptize people in the same baptismal. I mean, I had a feeling it'd probably be something like that. Man, 1994, I wasn't alive, unfortunately. It was not even a thought. But that's wow. 1994, good times. Favorite memory there. All right. We might have to
get into some of your
my
rapid
other ones.
fires.
All right. Favorite book of the Bible to teach and why?
Always been my favorite is the Book of John.
Yeah, we were right.
Told you.
Yes.
No wonder. That's what I'm in the Book of John more than I'm preaching through the Book of John on Wednesday nights for how many times. I mean, and it's not, and I'm not going back and pulling the same sermons up. God gives a new word.
Oh, we talked about that this week.
Yeah. But John is my favorite, and because I relate in a lot of ways, can relate to John and just with his own life and see how he was. That his desire was to love the Lord with everything within him. Yep. I don't always do that, but I pray that I have a desire to love him. That he's I don't know. That's one that I've always fallen in love to study.
That whole concept of John, the disciple whom I loved, Jesus saying that, I would love to have that. I remember the John series on Sunday mornings, how many years ago?
It's been a long time ago. And
that was back when our bulletin was 10 pages long. That's how I remember it.
Yeah. I was in high school.
My longest series, though, that I've ever done, I think, it's the Book of Luke. I preached through the Book of Luke and I believe I was at least 3 years. And that was just on Sunday mornings.
Right.
But it got to a place where, the Book of Luke is a great book, just like John. But I think people got tired. Okay, here comes Luke again.
It's probably how my kids feel.
I love preaching through books because you wouldn't preach on some of the things that are in those books if you didn't take the passages verse by verse.
Right.
Yeah, and the very passage you think, God, how am I going to preach this? What's going to come from this? Usually it's the time that God shows, well, this is why you're preaching this.
It's always the right timing.
Well, I found the same thing because I'm going through Matthew personally, and I spent the most time so far on the genealogy. And usually it's just like, just read the names and move on. But going through the genealogy, it just shows everything.
It does. It sure does.
So it connects it. And we're walking through the book of Matthew on Wednesdays. We just finished the book of Judges. And I didn't get a lot of critique, but I did get a little pushback about teaching Judges because that's a gory book. I'm like, well, it's the Bible. But it was amazing. It was right where we needed to be. right? When we started in October, it was right where we needed to be as we were seeing like our culture just break out with uproar about everything. Right. So I think that's amazing. It's funny to me, these passages you'll read, you'll be preparing. It's like, how are we going to teach this?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden the Lord's like, oh, here you go, right here.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you. I've enjoyed teaching books. I've enjoyed getting to sit under those. I do hate that you do teach John on Wednesdays because I'm over here doing that, but we'll be with you in a couple weeks.
It is very good. You're missing out.
Yeah, of course it is.
So just want to let you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I figured I told him, I said, it's probably John, but I was debating between John or Luke. All right. So we have your favorite memory. Is there a craziest memory that comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is what happened, and this would have probably been in 1989, 88 or 89. We were in this building where you all are, was our worship facility, but I was baptizing. And whenever I was baptizing, water came up in my waders and got my power pack. And while I was baptizing, gave me a little jolt, the Holy Spirit.
Getting a little Holy Spirit shot.
But I'll always remember that. That was a moment for me. I also will remember a time that I left my microphone on when I was in my office and I was in the restroom. I remember that. Had someone come quickly to share with me that my microphone was on.
Before protocol of, hey, if pastor's not on stage,
And that's
turn
still-
his microphone off.
I mean, that was happening even, a couple of years ago. We'd hear him like, oh, hey, how you doing as you're walking
that's so
out?
true.
I think I wasn't in the bathroom, okay.
That is hilarious. Oh, my gosh. Those are good. Any others?
Those are some of the main ones that I think
those.
about. Yeah.
Is there a funniest memory? And that's kind of the same.
Well, that was funny afterwards. It was not funny at all at the time. It was quite embarrassing because it was right before I was to come out. I mean, if it'd been at the end, that's, you got a week to work through all that.
Before the service.
Totally set the mood.
Hey, guys, how are y'all?
We have a serious discussion today.
Oh, man.
Another, I think of a moment, it wasn't necessarily a funny moment, but it was a moment that people in church still remember today that were here. And I was preaching on hitting the mark, making sure that we're focused on the mark, the call, what God has placed in each of us as followers of Him. And I had one of our men, Carl Cushman, bring his bow in Era. It was in the new building. I'm not sure that year that was.
I think I do remember this.
Vividly.
Yeah. But I had...
Vivintly?
Is that a word?
No.
Whatever.
Vivint is a home security system.
That my friend works for. That's right. But I don't remember it. Just continue.
Yeah, but anyway, it was a very interesting time. We had the target up on the stage, and he got back about halfway in the middle of the middle pew or the middle aisle, and he pulled back, and I acted like first that I was. The illustration was here. I'm gonna hit the target with the bow and arrow, and I got back and I was shaking and everything, and people in the pews, they were getting down and moving and scooting over because they knew that I had no talent at all in shooting a bow and arrow. But then I said, this is the champion. He was the Southeast archery champion. He's here. And he's going to, and no one moved around or anything, and he shot, and it went right in the middle of it was a bullseye, and that was a time that people today, they do not remember what the sermon was on or anything, but they remember that. People bring that up often.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't really remember that one in my word vividly.
You don't remember vividly?
No. Thank you, Jesse.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Critique. Let's see. That's a long question, probably. Are there any fun facts you want to share about your boys? Anything that you need, or fun memories of church with your boys?
Memories of my boys.
I've got my fair share.
I'm sure you do. And there's probably, I don't really want to hear some of those.
Well, mine are mainly with Luke
man.
and Dean Alice and stuff like that, being in the same house with them.
Right.
Oh,
this
man.
was not a fun fact, but this was Jay, and he was youth camp, and I didn't go with them. Kay did though, and somehow he got his mom's keys to the car, and they had a field out in the area. He literally got the car, went out in the field, started doing donuts in the field. And actually the tires came off the rims of the car. And, Kay is just, what just happened? And later, it was a few days later, she called to let me know what happened.
Oh, man.
But I'm thinking, I was speechless, kind of the way I am now.
So wait, okay, so that was with Mitch.
Yes.
So did he?
Yes.
So Jay did not get Delta ruled on that one. That's amazing.
It was. That was. My boys have done some really crazy things.
Jay though makes me, because I love talking to Jay today when I see him, and I love hearing Jay laugh more than anything.
Yeah.
We need Malone in here.
I know, man. And I'm just thinking about Jay doing
Donuts,
and I'm dying.
Not here at youth camp,
right? Yeah. And Caleb's my sister's age, so they were in pre-K or something together, and then me and Luke, of course. But no, my memories of Luke mainly just from playing sports. He was always good. I remember when we played baseball against each other. He was a lot of fun to play against, and but Luke makes me laugh too, man. They all funny. Jay though, I love being around Jay. All right, let's end with we all know who your favorite person on staff is.
Are you going to ask him, or are you just going to let
do you have a favorite
assume?
person on staff?
I do, and I haven't been shy about sharing who it's been.
I'm interested.
Even in the past, I haven't.
Who is your favorite person on staff?
And I'll share today, and it will just echo what I've shared in the past.
There you go.
Jesse Moore.
Amen, brother.
Oh, no.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, though.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say Malone.
No, Malone's a great guy. James a great guy.
But we're not Jesse Moore.
And Josh is, and Rob and Malone, all those. But there's only one Jesse Moore.
Yeah.
Gracious.
True fun fact too. Very true. You know it.
Behind the camera. Never
one of these days you're coming out front.
Not. You made me do it twice, and that was 2 times too many.
But that's a good way to end things to a degree.
Is it though? I feel like we need to talk about something
I'm
else.
going to give him an opportunity to, if there's anything you want to end with, or anything you want to ask us, or any last comments you want to make.
I do. Just one thing that a lot of, whenever I announced on March the 7th that I was going to be retiring as pastor here, one of the things that I shared during that announcement was I will never be retiring from ministry. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people maybe miss that, because I have so many people that tell me, I'm so glad that you're going to be able to retire and sit back and take it easy and enjoy life and all that. And my quick response is, I'm retiring only as pastor at West Acres.
Right.
That God He's calling me to a different avenue or different area of ministry, and then I kind of go in and share with them the thought of transitional pastor, and that's kind of what I'll be doing. And matter of fact, I even had a church that's already had contacted me.
Wow.
Last week, and asked if I would be interested in doing some interim work for them, because they're in the process of looking for a pastor, and they asked if I would be ready that Sunday after my last Sunday here.
Wow.
And I'm not sure that I'm quite ready that soon to do that. But those are the things that I want to be doing, is to kind of help churches that are looking for pastors. And they may be looking for a pastor because they've gone through some really difficult times.
Right.
To go in and kind of encourage them through the preaching of God's Word. Or it may be that their pastor has retired and they're looking for, another pastor. Just giving them time, that they don't have to rush, that they can take their time and seek the Lord for whomever that may be. Yeah. That's what I really am looking forward to doing. Not necessarily all the pastoral responsibilities. I'm thankful for those that God has given me here for many years, but that's what I'm kind of ready to move away from,
right?
And really just preach God's word.
Yep, love on the church through the preaching of the word.
That's what I feel God is leading me to do, not to retire and prop my feet up and take it easy.
Right. Well, I think that's your direct calling is definitely the preaching.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's no doubt. Because it's part of church work. There's the roles that come outside of teaching, but I will tell anyone teaching is my favorite thing.
Right.
Or singing, being in what the direct calling we've been called to. I look forward to you being able to have that too. Like, I know we both have talked about it. You have earned like that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about earning anything. It's encouraging that God's not finished with me.
That's right.
That He has more work for me to do, and I look forward to that. And one of the things that I look forward to more than anything is when that time has passed a little bit, is when whomever the next pastor is here at West Acres, that he'll call me up and say, "Hey, I'm going on vacation next month. Would you fill in on a Sunday?" To be able to come back, that would be it. That would be a little odd coming as a just
what do they call Johnny Hunt, Pastor Emeritus?
That's right. Yeah. And I would look forward to coming back and sharing, preaching to my church family here.
I think it'd be sweet.
Yeah, it would.
But the thing for me is I'm not going to be able to be here at West Acres a lot after that, just for the new pastor for a while, because it's going to be hard for people when they see me to not see me as their pastor.
Right.
It's going to be hard for me when I see them to say that I'm not your pastor anymore. Yeah. So we've got to give that time for growth and everything there. But this is my church home, and this is the place I love, and I'm thankful for it.
Well, you'll be getting some calls if you want to help out in the youth anytime.
Okay.
You always got a direct in there.
That's where I started,
I know. So that's what I'm saying is you might be getting that call. But no, I look forward to those. I look forward to 2 years down the road, however long. Hey, Pastor Larry's preaching this Sunday. Oh, is he now?
Yeah.
Let's do it to it.
More episodes on Coffee with Vern.
Yeah. No, well, and I look forward to you, being able to enjoy that time with your family too, to be able to go be with Jay and them and not feel like you got to rush back.
Right. Yes.
And then also, for us, there'll be different kind of sweet memories, like if we get to have like a cookout or things like that, we can do that kind of stuff and there not be the stressful environment of we got this coming.
Yeah.
It'd be and I'll be honest with you, something I'm gonna give it time, but something I'm gonna be either emailing you or texting you about is, hey, I need some wisdom. Can you provide? And
can I just say this quickly? For me, that's going to be important. Not that I have all wisdom, but I need to feel that I'm still needed.
Oh, man.
I mean, that is just really just coming out and saying, because that's one of the things in my heart is the years here, I've always wanted to feel needed, that people need me to pray with them or need a word of encouragement or just need a tear coming from me to them and sharing it together. But I need to know that I'm needed.
Yeah. I'm the Lord wired me that way because I don't do well with loneliness, and I need to know I'm needed. But you might have to tell me, hey, you're texting me too much or something, because it's an honest fact, and we'll close after this. But even one of my most sweetest memories, I remember when my grandfather passed, and I was hanging out with my family, and all I could tell Mom is, I just want to see Pastor. Like, you let me know when he's here. That's the only person I care to see. Yeah. And that's the bond we have. And it's unified by the Lord. We have the sweetest bond we all have is because of Jesus.
Amen.
We've had some fun memories, but all those memories are showered in the grace of the Lord.
Yes.
And so I look forward to all the days to come, and I ain't going nowhere. you ain't going nowhere. I mean, I've already said this is a package deal. We here for the long haul.
That's right.
And so, well, brother, we appreciate you coming on.
Well, this has been really exciting for me, and I had been looking forward to it, and it's been even greater than what I was expecting.
Well, we're going to have more. Don't worry.
Definitely.
But until then, Coffee with Vern, folks, we hope to see you this week in worship. But go in peace. Enjoy your week. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you next time.